everybody, and welcome to the second episode of Let's Talk Astrology with Kepler College tutors. Today we have the honour and privilege of speaking with world-renowned astrologer Öner Döşer. He is again a world-renowned astrologer. He is the founder of Art School of Astrology. He is also a lecturer, an author of tens of fantastic books, several of which I have. And a few of them translated into English as well. And Öner is also a member of several organizations across the world, astrological organizations. So thank you, Öner, for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to see you, by the way, Callum. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. So the first question we've got for you today is that at Kepler College, you teach a class which is Ancient Predictive Techniques. So for any prospective students out there, how would you describe the class and what do you hope students get from the course?
Thank you for this question. This class is about, ancient predictive techniques. And I'm teaching, first of all, Ages of Man technique of Claudius Ptolemy, which is from Tetrabiblos, and directing by turns technique, predicting via triplicity rulers, and Peudaria techniques. And actually, predictive techniques like secondary progression, solar return charts, or solar arc progressions, and especially transits are widely used by modern astrologers. However, some of the predictive techniques of classical astrology, which should be known by all well-equipped astrologers, are not used that widespread. In fact, prediction techniques of classical astrology have a great contribution to astrology with a high accuracy rate. And as I think, if we have enough information about the techniques of classical astrology, we may be able to understand the source of modern techniques. And these prediction techniques can be used in tandem with transits and other modern predictive techniques and can be used together with the new trends of modern astrology and psychological concepts. Astrological prediction is one of the talents that rise the man to the wisdom level. And they call me pseudo-traditional astrologer. Why? Because I'm blending modern and traditional techniques, Callum. I'm using all of them.
They are so fantastic, and for any students out there, prospective students, I was actually privileged to have gone through your course, and it was really just it's just riches of information. And I was new to ancient predictive techniques, but going through them all, whether it was the ages of man, so looking at wider time spans through your life, the Federa, where you had the lords and the sublords and breaking things through, and then with the other techniques with the directions through the terms or the bounds of the ascendant, and what I loved at the end of the course is combining all of the techniques together. And for me, it was so mind-blowing being new. It was like, it was a treasure trove every week. So I was so excited to learn these techniques. And I implemented them to my own life, and I looked back, and it was so incredibly accurate. It was quite fantastic. So I highly recommend this class.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's fantastic. So also a part of the course, and you are a fantastic author. You wrote several books, a few of them in English as well. The one I have here, which I highly recommend for everyone, whether you take the course or not, is Astrological Prediction, a handbook of techniques, which you have just been talking about. So whether we're talking about some of those ancient techniques combined with more the modern techniques, so whether that's secondary progression, solar arc directions, and I particularly love the end of the book where you're talking about rectification and combining those techniques there. So and you can find this book on Amazon, different places as the sites.
Amazon, and from Ben Dyke's website. My colleague and friend Benjamin Dykes is the editor of the book, and this book is printed from Kazmi Press, and he is the owner of that press actually. So you can find in his website as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. And for me, it was an essential part of my beginner, going through Kepler courses, like this was an essential part of my library.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I would also like to ask you about your astrological beginnings. How did you get into astrology, and what was your beginnings like?
Actually, I first casted my chart in 1996, when I was in Grand Bazaar. I'm the great-grandson of my family in Grand Bazaar of Istanbul, which is almost over 600 years old. It's a very ancient place. And even my grandfather's father was there, and he began working there as a tradesman in the beginning of 1900s.
Wow.
Then in 1984, I started working there as a great-grandson of my family, the fourth generation. First, I was working with my father, and then in 1994, he made me partner to one of the stores there, and we were selling handbags. After my father's death in 1997, as the only son of my family and a result of some sweet obligations, I had to work with many partners. They were actually my father's partners who were left to me after his death and in our stores. And I continued to run the other stores. There were 6 stores actually, until quitting the job and leaving the Grand Bazaar in 2003. 2003 was a highly active and a hard year for me. I was about to complete the lessons I got from first astrology teacher, Hakan Kırkoğlu of Turkey, in the Astrological Association. And astrology began to take larger time in my life. And to spare more time in astrology, I left my job in Grand Bazaar in that fated year. So 2003 was also an important year for me because I began getting online courses from great Robert Zollner, my second astrology teacher. And the training program started on November 24, 2003, together with the eclipse, which is important for me because that solar eclipse was the same with my prenatal eclipse, which is the last solar eclipse before my birthday on February 12, 1966. And the knots were also at the same positions as in my chart.
Wow.
And all those astrological indicators, because I was reading my charts as well, showed me that I was in a fated period that could change my life totally. So this training I got from Robert Zoller was something fated for me, as it proved so. Then I founded School of Astrology in March 2005 with my wife. I started to teach astrology in a room in our house, actually, for 2.5 years.
Wow.
And yeah, by that time, I founded the astrology newspaper on a website in 2006 and gave place to some of my colleagues and my students to write there with me. In the same year, my first astrology book was published, 2006. And then in 2010, I started to give classes also online and interactive for the first time in Turkey. In the same year, I also founded Astrology Television on Internet and started to broadcast videos there to teach astrology.
Wonderful.
And in the same year, that also fated year, 2012, I found Astrology Publications and started to organize annual events in Turkey which is called International Astrology Days, with the participation of worldly renowned astrologers. And as of 2016, School of Astrology has been on the list of approved schools of APAI and IZAR, having Turkish and English certificate and diploma programs for students from all over the world.
Wonderful.
So far, I trained almost over 3,000 students from all around the world, mostly from Turkey. And many of them became teachers and writers in astrological community.
Wow.
And so far, I have written 37 books, and 14 of them translated into English. One is translated into Chinese and Serbian as well. And also, you know, my articles have been translated into English and some other languages like Chinese, Serbian, etc. That's my story.
I love it. What a wonderful, starting from a room in your house to worldwide.
Yeah.
37 books, many.
Yeah, it's incredible. It was really incredible. Sometimes I cannot believe where I am at the moment. Of course, our charts showing something to us.
Yeah.
But I think there are something more than that. If you are serving to the universe, I mean, to the divinity, then you are getting help. I believe this. This is over your chart.
and that's what I got from your course as well, going through the techniques, and your work is so wonderful, and like I say, an essential part of it. And that's such a, and your family background as well, it's fascinating. I understand that you also have a distant relative that was an Ottoman chief astrologer. Is that right? Back through the centuries?
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
Amazing.
Actually, I'm attending to some television programs since almost 2002, and they call me that I changed the view of astrology in the eye of public in general with those television programs I have attended. Yes, I'm good in speaking in Turkish, actually. Not so well maybe in English, but in Turkish. Thank you. It is coming from my father, actually. You know, my father was an actor. And we are a productive family. He had over 300 films in movies, in just 17 years. And he was very popular in Grand Bazaar as well. He used to be the president of the Society of Traders Man in Grand Bazaar. He was very good speaking, you know, in the eye of the public. So I think I got something from him. I have the sun in the fifth in Aquarius with Mercury, of course, trining to Jupiter in the ninth. So I think those are working.
Wonderful, and you have such a wonderful presence as well. It's fantastic. I'm also Aquarius, Sun, fifth house, Libra rising. So
wow, yeah, I'm the same.
I have to wear the shirts. I don't know.
yeah. Great, good.
Well, thank you. That's such a wonderful background story, and like I say, to go from there to where you are now. And do you have any more books in line right now that you're thinking about writing?
Yeah. We are translating from a 19th century Ottoman astrologer.
Wow.
And actually, the book is 572 pages. But when you translate them and put in the word, it is over 1,000 pages. And so I'm making some small books extracting from his, you know, techniques. And by the way, the book is from 3 languages, from Ottoman, from Persian, and from Arabic. So it took us over 5 years to translate the book. And I have a project with my students, which is called Tamak in Turkish, to, you know, translate the ancient Ottoman astrological text. And we have founded it 6 years ago. And by the time of the sun most exaltation degree, 19 Aries.
Oh, wonderful.
It is just like our hot project or Project Insight, we are trying to translate some Ottoman pages, and I made 2 books by translating from his big book. But of course, I have to interpret them. I'm adding something, I'm explaining something. So I can say it is half to half with the 19th century writer and myself. So the next one will be in just 15 days later. It will be published.
Oh, wow.
And it is on Ingress charts.
Ingress.
On Mundane Astrology. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. That is such a, you must be doing a lot of work, translating 3 languages as well.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not the translator. I have several translators, and I missed 2 of them because the text was very difficult, by the way. But I have some students, they cannot run because they are my students. One of them is a teacher on Arabic. The other one is very good on Ottoman. And sometimes we had difficulties to find a translator on Persian. It is difficult to find, but we did it. So it is coming. It is coming soon.
Wonderful. Well, I'm very excited.
Yeah, and one of those books are translated, which is written by myself, and the Strength of the Planets. It is in English.
Oh.
It is in our website, astrological.com.tr, and that with the other books. And it's a good book, Strength of the Planets. Very good book.
Fantastic, fantastic. Wow, that is just an incredible body of work.
Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for speaking with us today and giving your background and just the work you are doing. And again, for any prospective students out there, Öner teaching at Kepler College, Ancient Predictive Techniques, and again, another, in the background, a wealth of information. So again, if you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe and like, and join us for more content. So thank you, Öner, again for joining us.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And I will have an advice to the students who are new to ancient predictive techniques. Is to be familiar with the techniques of delineation of the traditional astrology. It is very important. According to my master teacher, Robert Zoller, if you do this accurately and truly, you can even write a biography of the native, even though you have never heard about him and don't know anything about him. Because of this, in this course we are doing in Kepler College, we are talking about the chart delineation techniques rules of traditional astrology, as well as using its powerful tools such as the Arabic parts and also pick stars, not only delineation, the other delineation techniques. So if the students are going to take my courses, they will see that I'm talking also about the delineation techniques of traditional astrology that are impressive, really.
Fantastic, wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
And at least having a prerequisite of having, at least the basic understandings, with that's dignities and debilities as well, conditions of planets and different
exactly
things like that. And wonderful, wonderful. Well, I can't recommend your class highly enough. I loved going through.
Thank you so much.
It is also a self-paced course, so there's no particular time frame is there for students. Is it within a couple of months, or what do you say?
Yeah. Actually, we have 4 lessons on edges of man, directing triplicity, terms, and lastly Pulgaria. And the 5th one is on combining them in a chart. How to combine? This is very important. You can work all these techniques with transits, secondary progressions, even with solar return charts. For example, I'm working perfections in tandem with solar return charts. They are very important, and you can see the clues, you can see the footprints in each chart. And what is good for traditional technique, actually, if you want, you can use another chart, but if you don't want to, only your natal chart is enough to predict something with perfection, Pulgaria, any other techniques. But if you use them with modern predictive techniques such as transits, for example, it is much more impressive. Sure.
Absolutely, absolutely, fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, again, thank you again for explaining the course.
Thank you.
It's again an absolute honour and privilege to speak with you today. And I'm sorry, it's probably late in Turkey right now, isn't it?
No problem. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm very happy to see you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.